Thirdly, Robin Hanbury-Tennyson is an explorer, author, anthropologist, farmer and a founder of Survival International. In a lifetime of over 30 expeditions, he's taken tea with former cannibals, was the first person to ride the entire length of the Great Wall of China on horseback, and led the Royal Geographical Society's largest ever expedition. Robin, Roald Amundsen once said that adventure is just bad planning.
That's absolutely right. My wife always says that the reason I'm an explorer is that I'm always lost. The adventure in exploration is when things go wrong. The exploration, very serious business, really. I mean, it's about science, it's about discovery, it's about opening up the world and understanding it better. The adventure is a bonus.
Who do you admire as an explorer?
I think the ones who are pioneering the new frontiers under the earth, Andy Eavis, great caver. Only 10% of the caves in the world and the underground passages are understood. But more exciting even than him are people like Sylvia Earle and Bob Ballard, who are the deep-sea divers. Bob Ballard turned the whole of evolutionary history on its head by going 6 miles down in a little bathysphere thing and finding these little fumaroles that come up,
the
little
vents,
volcano vents, surrounded by life, 20-foot-long worms, crabs, all sorts of extraordinary creatures.
Daniel, you've described Pi as an enormous landscape. Have you ever fancied doing things that Robin does?
I'd love to. I'm in total admiration.
You must come, Daniel. All these languages that are dying, you could save them by memorising them in a week. That would be wonderful.
Ronnie, have you thought of being an adventuress? You ever see yourself in a long skirt and a little black hat? As one of those Victorian ladies.
Amazing, those old women. Those sort of... I first crossed the Gobi Desert when I was 74 on my one-humped hairy camel. And that's when I first met Abdul, who was 50 years my junior, bless him, but went at it like a rabbit. They're amazing, these women. Quite unexpectedly, I became the president of Burkina Faso.
There's some of these Victorian ladies. I mean, you're a fan of Mary Kingsley, aren't you, Robin?
Mary Kingsley was one of the best known. She travelled in Africa, and there's this wonderful line that she has when she wandered off the path at one point. Next thing I knew, I was down at the bottom of a 9-foot game pit, sitting on a dozen ebony spikes. It is at moments like that that you realise the benefit of a good, thick tweed skirt.
So, Robin, in your books, one thing's clear, a lot of these explorers are pretty eccentric.
The most eccentric one I travelled with was a wonderful character called Sebastian Snow, who was reputed to have found the source of the Amazon and travelled all the way down it by himself. But he never learnt any languages at all. He shouted at people in English. And it worked, of course, it does work. He was a very, very good friend of mine in some ways, but he was also the most irritating man unhung. And he decided that we would make the first crossing of South America from north to south by river, from the mouth of the Orinoco to the River Plate. And Sebastian went out a week earlier than I did. I came out to put the last bits together. Sebastian said, I was waiting for you to come. I've managed to get a dose of the clap. And the doctor said, you need 3 million units of penicillin a day in order to cure this. So he gave me 1 needle and a syringe, and every night, as we set up our camp on the river bank, the first thing to do was to boil a little pan, sterilise the 1 needle we had, and then the best moment of the day was when I whammed 3 million units of penicillin into Sebastian's bottom. And I cured him, but he did go mad and he had to go back soon after. We did stay friends.
Ladies and gentlemen, Robin Hanbury-Tennyson.